Art Yard Brooklyn Art Matters is a contemporary visual art education program open to all students in pre-K through 5th grade at PS 282. Led by Art Yard Director Meredith McNeil, assisted by teaching artist Vera Teneo, with a rotating roster of teaching artists, our intensive visual art program took place on Zoom. Classes fostered a range of skills from art techniques to critical thinking. Students used readily available materials, explored master works, investigated a variety of intellectual ideas, and participated in daily critiques. Welcome to our virtual exhibition of student artwork made in this program. I Spy with My Eye, teaching artist Meredith McNeil. We began by looking at several examples of contemporary artwork and public art installations which depict images of human eyes. Students learned about the parts of the eye looking at a labeled diagram. Then we painted as we carefully observed our own eyes in mirrors. The students used watercolors to depict a large portrait of one eye filling the entire page. Mapping the inside and outside of your life. Teaching artist Gulnar Adili. Inspired by Persian miniature painting, in this first session, Gulnar asked students to draw the inside and outside of their home in one drawing. Gulnar used the term envelope to describe the outer perimeter of our homes. As many of us in New York City live in multi-family dwellings, this often meant that the students' drawing depicted their own apartments within larger buildings. In the second week, students made mixed media map drawings of the path from their home to somewhere special, maybe school, perhaps the park, the grocery store, or a remembered destination, such as the mountains or grandma's house in another state. In the third session, students cut their artworks made in these previous sessions into strips, then reconfigured the strips, alternating the drawings into a brand new artwork. This was a challenging process, and at first, some of the young artists were hesitant to cut through their drawings. But in the end, everyone was excited to behold their wonderful striped mixed media collage pieces. Unity, Community. Teaching artist Richard Estrin. Richard began his 3-part series, Unity, Community, by showing several examples of community murals, as well as examples of artists, such as Faith Ringgold, who use triptychs in their work. That's 3 pieces, which make a single artwork. In our first session with Richard, students learned to use several advanced watercolor methods to depict their community, which might be their neighborhood, or perhaps a local park, or even the inhabitants of their toy box. The techniques we learned included overlapping and working wet on wet paint. The next week, students drew the same community using one-color pen to draw with line and mark making. The third session with Richard, we made a third depiction of that same community by combining all of the watercolor and line techniques that we had learned in our previous sessions. Students combined all 3 pieces together to make a triptych. Stencils. Teaching artist Jane Huntington. In our first session, Jane taught us how to cut stencils from paper. Students made stencils of several shapes: hearts, moons, stars, amorphic shapes, even jelly beans, and of their hands. In the second session, we used these stencils to make paintings by painting around the cutout shapes or carefully inside the cutout shapes. Alice Neal and Jamel Shabazz, who are our neighbors. Teaching artist Jane Huntington. After showing us the work of portrait painter Alice Neal, photographer Jamel Shabazz, and her own photographs of her neighbors, Jane invited us to use the materials of our choice to make pictures of our own neighbors. Dreams, Imagination, and Reality. Teaching artist Claude Viald Peralta. The first week working with Claude, we explored our dreams. Claude showed us several surrealistic dream paintings, including work by Salvador Dali and Remedios Varo. Thus inspired, students made pictures of their own dreams from memory. The following week, we looked at several examples of Cubist and Impressionist still life painting. We then concentrated on depicting reality. Students were asked to bring several still life objects into their class. They then set up an interesting composition. Then, using the drawing materials of their choice, they made a drawing from observation. In the third week with Claude, we explored a new medium, collage. Students brought several types of papers to class. We emphasized bringing paper items that could be recycled, such as old envelopes, circulars, or magazines. With these materials, scissors, and glue, students created a collage of something or a place that they imagined. The shape of our community. Teaching artist Vera Tineo. Vera prepared an excellent PowerPoint with a video demonstration to help students envision how to see shapes on the human face. Working from photos of themselves, their family, or their friends, our young artists drew beautiful shaped portraits. The following week, we began with a lesson on abstract patterning. Vera suggested we come to class wearing pattern clothing. Inspired by the patterns around us or on us, students covered their pages with patterning. The next step we followed was to carefully cut our portraits from the previous session, then glue them onto the patterns for a mixed media collage. For our final art-making session of the year, Vera challenged our kindergarten and first grade artists to draw from observation. That means careful looking. Vera shared a slideshow with a variety of masterworks drawn from observation. Then she walked students through the process of carefully looking at an object to discern shapes. In doing so, it's possible to depict perspective, which gives the artwork the illusion of depth. And these are our chair portraits. Classroom teachers were very helpful in this session, making sure a chair was prominently placed so all students had an unobstructed view to draw from observation. In professional training, teaching artists Meredith McNeil and Vera Tineo. Vera and I teamed up to train our virtual students on important gallery roles other than artist. After reviewing all of the projects we worked on this year, these hardworking docents then made audio clips talking about the artwork, the process, and the materials. At 4 years old, Lucy may hold the record for our youngest docent ever. Miles and Lucy also worked as designers on our signage for the exhibition and the Evite. Now that you've seen the individual works, we invite you to take a stroll through our virtual exhibition. You can go on a guided tour or at your own pace. When you reach an installation, you can click on that artwork to hear our docents describe the work, to see a written explanation of the project, and to view a list of the artists. We hope you enjoy Art Yard Art Matters at PS 282 virtual exhibition of student works. Thanks for joining us.